Hey, I'm about to share right now. I'm going to start with first our Inform project.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you give a little background?
Joey, can you give us a little background about yourself?
Yeah, okay, great.
Joey's over.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joey. I'm CTO with Basatne. Wish I was there today. I get to walk you guys around the warehouse and show you kind of how this all comes together from a data perspective. But my background's computer science from Florida State. Lived in San Francisco and other places, helped build early stage technology, advised multiple startups, and my background's in building APIs and data aggregation with a degree in information sciences. So I get to have fun playing around with data. And what we do at Basatne, of course, as you guys know, moving phones. So understanding the data and be able to leverage different markets allows us to kind of understand where the temperature is kind of shifting around certain things. So one of the projects is that good intro a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the cool things we were working on is how do we create insights around data in markets as a tool that we can use at Basatne first. So we started building this technology as an internal product, and then we saw that this is something that a lot of sellers in the marketplace, like Amazon, can use. So we started creating data compilers that are doing scraping and aggregating the data from Amazon. You guys all know, of course, Amazon's a huge marketplace, but the interesting things before I got involved in this project, I didn't know, but Amar and his insights into what is possible is pretty great. We were able to bypass the information, like we were able to bypass certain routes in Amazon and be able to collect real-time inventory, how much is being sold of certain products, what sellers are moving, what volumes, and I'll go ahead and show you the data, which is pretty cool. So I have a login I'm showing you as a seller. When I'm a seller, it automatically pulls everything I sell, my competitors, and then what versus what I'm selling to kind of give me insights of possible other things I can sell as well. So on this landing page, you'll see these are items I don't sell, so I can go kind of into product discovery. I can then go ahead and pull in a competitor. Sorry, this is my portfolio. So this is products I have, my top products. These are recommended products I can look at, and then we can see competitors that are competing against me. And then if
Joey, let me give a little background about Informed. So the reason why we founded Informed a couple of years ago, because we were doing a lot of distribution for brand new devices, right? So Google, or JBL, all stuff. But we don't want to be just a normal buyer and a seller. We want it to be a little bit of a value add partner. So the way we do that, biggest challenge all these brands have is when you buy something from them. If Basatne buys a thermostat from Google, 2,000 pieces. Next thing you know, we're selling it to someone, that person ending up selling on Amazon below MSRP. That causes a lot of issues for Google because customer walks into Best Buy, tells them, okay, this $249 MSRP is being sold for $199 on Amazon. Best Buy price matches it, but then they charge back Google for that $50. So the thing that we wanted to do at Basatne is like, okay, how can I be a value add for Google? They don't just want to sell it to me; they want to sell it to me because I also give them back a report of who's selling their products on Amazon, who's really breaking their MSRP, who's because the scraping that we do every 20 minutes. So like I can give them details of exactly who's selling, how many sellers selling their products on Amazon, how many sellers are breaking the MSRP, when are they breaking the MSRP, are they breaking it after 6 p.m. when nobody's monitoring the marketplace on the Google side, all this kind of stuff. So that's where Informed was really born. Now, after that, we found out that we can use it on our phones when we start bidding for phones.
Sure.
Who's selling mostly, who has inventory, how much inventory there is it missing? And we don't just do Amazon.com, we do Amazon worldwide. So we got Japan, Germany, Italy, every marketplace, we have all the data here. And then after that, we're like, okay, how can we start making money? Because we dumped a few $100,000 into this. How can we monetize it? So that's part of it is, okay, now sellers on Amazon can actually use this service to be able to scrape what they're selling, other sellers that are selling the same products, what other products they're selling that we're not selling, so all this kind of competition stuff.
Yeah, this is amazing because
I have limited exposure to .com, but I've seen some of the janky, like Jungle Scout, like all these crappy tools that really don't do much. This is amazing. So you guys built Informed for yourself.
Yes.
And then we're like, holy shit, this is great. We could license this out and
exactly.
Okay.
That's what we do. And then we scrape. So the difference between us and Jungle Scout and everyone else, we actually, so Jungle Scout, the way we do it is a Chrome extension that actually scrapes whatever people open up or whatever. But with us, we're actually scraping Amazon every 18 minutes. And the way we do that is we actually mimic the human behavior. Because, with Amazon, they're not going to give you that data. Even to their own sellers and buyers, they don't do that data. So we scrape that data, and then we mimic the human behavior. And we have thousands of services launching every 18 minutes, creating different products and then shutting down. You know what I mean? So a different IP address. So we have to be very creative to be able to get that to operate.
So you can also see all of the crazy movement with prices and buy box and everything, like
buy box, who's winning the buy box, how many sellers, every seller, how much they're selling the products for, the quantity. So we actually go into the cart, we add an item, we do that 999 trick. So now we know how much inventory they have, live. So we keep track of everything. And who are the sellers, where they're located, are they shipping FBA, FBM, fulfilled by Amazon, fulfilled by seller, how many, what's their feedback, how much negative feedback they're getting every day. We track every single detail. Go ahead.
Amazing.
So on my dashboard, as like a seller, I can go here, see my competitors, click, see what they're selling, and I can track anything that they're selling also. If I'm like, oh, cool, product discovery was something that, Mar says pretty important, right? So if I go now to like top competitor ASIN, these are people I'm tracking as an example. I can go add more to my tracking system. Now, because I'm tracking them, I'm tracking their ASINs. So now I'm going to pull all the ASINs for basically Apple selling, and I'm going to pull up the date. It's just pulling up generic date, 15 to the 20th. So these are all of the sellers, a breakdown of all the sellers. If I expand this out, I can then expand this seller as an example. I can see all the phones they have sold during this time period. I can see, how much in sales, the average selling price. We have a GMI, which is a gray market index. That's what Amar was speaking to about if there's under MSRP. But, Apple's a different animal. But here you can see like they sold 5 of these phones. They're selling 123 of these phones. Total ticket price, average sales. And you can do this for every one of the sellers, right? So you can go through and expand any sellers, which lets you kind of find from our Basatne side, if we're looking for a seller that's moving a certain phone and volume and we need to blow it out of inventory, we can quickly identify those and get their information. We can scroll down for a product, and I can go on the product base, so I can see products that are moving, the unauthorized sales, FBA versus FBM, even SFP. Like we have really good variables around all of this. Another cool thing that we can do is if we go to let's say a product, and you're curious about, let's say, an iPhone, I'll just say, 14.
iPhone 13, 128, just for fun.
iPhone, what?
It's
13.
Let me see.
13.
Oh, sorry.
Do you guys envision any workflow automation on this, which will automatically push inventory out to cart level based on data that's flowing from here?
We have not explored this, but there's a lot of potential.
A huge potential.
Yeah.
Right? To figure out how you make it.
So in this example, right, we have the product features, we have reviews of the product, you have the actual sales moving throughout the time period. So we can track, what the, minimum, the low of the buy box is, the high and the average buy box. So this is telling us buy box data. You can see the daily trend. So who sold it, right? How much it's sold for and the time. So these are snapshots of the times we're taking of when the pricing is changing between sellers and how long, it's there. So this is pretty good data around the buy box. Then you have the inventory. So you can see the kind of the moving inventory volumes. If someone was an outlier, like say hybrid IT, you can remove them from the data and only look at the lower spectrum if you want to. You can also, of course, download any of this and export it in Excel. Then it shows. Then it shows kind of the average, inventory moving daily. So you can see what's going on there. You can see the minimum, so the high price and low price sellers that are selling on the actual market. You can see the buy box prices that are selling for the high and the low. You can see where sellers are located geographically. So track all the sellers. I can tell you New York has 26 sellers, Texas has 22. Some are in Ontario, so we do capture some of them that are selling the same product just across border. The ratings, you got the FBA versus FBM seller counts. You breaking it down more. Then of course the average price chart. And yeah, so this is kind of one product. We're tracking. Any product we track, we get this kind of data around. Now, if I go into as a seller, say I'm looking at breed, just one of the sellers I know that I saw in that graph. We then have information about breed. We have their address, their phone number. So from our and then we also recommend kind of like they recommend products. We recommend similar sellers that sell same kinds of products that we're tracking. So this lets us go find downflow distributors and stuff like that as well. But that's informed. So we have it to where people can sign up. They get a cost per ASIN they want to track. They can buy like a bucket of ASINs, and that's like that business model. But we ended up taking this. So what this does is this identifies on an ASIN level. And I started thinking, what if we can identify instead of an ASIN, what if we can identify just the product? And then we can look at every ASIN around the world in different markets to identify, different arbitrage or opportunities, are there. So I'll show you real quick over here. There we go. So as an example, this is a tool we built internally to kind of identify the arbitrage stuff. I can go here and I can run a new report. I can choose any of these regions or countries. And then I can just choose a phone and it'll run the report. To save us time, as it takes a while to scrape all that data. Not too long, but I'll just show you one that I just did, this iPhone 13. If I go here and I look at the report, it then compiles a pre-cached information. It shows you, most profitable areas, of course, Brazil, but this doesn't include the taxes and all the other stuff that has to be brought into it. If I go to the full report, showing a small percentage, full report's going to break down every single country, and then that we did in that list. The cool thing is it indexes the local currency and then converts it to U.S. currency so we can understand from our perspective. It then shows us the identifiable margins that we see. Now, this is something we're building internally. Of course, there's going to be more tweaks we can do where we have to identify like import cost tax, VATs, that kind of stuff to really understand the margins and the distribution. But if we, as an example, I've seen situations where an iPhone 13 might sell for 5% to 12% more in UK versus Netherlands. So if we're looking for sellers, why would we be trying to pitch the one in the lower margin areas? We pitch the ones in the other areas to move the volume and make sure we're getting a little more juice in our squeeze as well, right? So this is a pretty cool tool we built. And then I'll go into the Arbitrage one. Is that cool?
The Arbitrage, I'm going to give them. We're going to give them a tour here. So it's actually no. You can just show them a little bit, and then we're going to take them a tour.
Oh, you guys can see it. So Arbitrage.
Hey Joey.
Yeah.
Wait, one second.
I just want to see if Greg had any questions, and then I also want to touch base because I think like when you and I last spoke about this, with the potential partnership, this can be something that you can also expand out to them. Because I can only imagine the impact that this would have for you and the team, right? Having this kind of data insights, because are you guys still looking at making this available as an offering too?
Yes. So, we make it available for our OEM brands. To be honest with you. So yeah.
So I mean, huge implications, right?
For sure. Yep. 100%.
You okay with
any questions?
No, this is wonderful. I'll thank you.
Yeah. So
let's go into Arbitrage.
The only thing else I would say, Joey, is you have other than the live demo, which is fantastic, right? Do you have an overview of this that you can maybe send to Greg that he's going to obviously have to report back to his team? It would be great to have some additional information on this that he can take back to his team.
Okay.
Or we can work with Nick on it.
Yeah, we'll work with Nick on that one. But yeah, I know we have some material that we'll send over to you.
I can probably also send video recording to you guys if that helps them. that might help you guys too. So one of the cool things that like understanding there's kind of two ways to analyze like Basatne as a whole, right? Of course, it's buying, it's also selling. You want to know your sell and how to optimize your sell, but you also truly want to like understand your fixed costs, and they'll show you a demo of how ridiculous the whole entire process flow is. But like if we can analyze our flow, our time to produce to refurb an actual phone, the true cost of replacing screens, parts, batteries, and then if we can predict what it's going to sell for in 90 days in the market, we're creating predictive analytics, right? Where we can predict the future margins, and we know the time period it's going to take to refurbish through that process. So understanding that, it's kind of like if you're shipping grapes, you know it has an expiration date, right? So we're trying to hit that apogee point that maximizes our profits that we can. So a really amazing tool that we build around this whole entire repair process is the Arbitrage system, which we're trying to increase as much automation as possible. So companies can come in, they can sign up. We then create a work order for them. In this one, there's 2,000, right? It then breaks down when it goes through the process what the grading is of the phone, breaks down the battery percentages. You can go into a very IMEI detail list, but this tells us how much was received, what the results are, what's processed, what grading it is from like, good to bad, of course, that because you need to know when you're selling. And ultimately, if you know the sell price in 90 days, is it worth me as a business owner to refurbish that phone, right? Like what is my cost on refurbishment? What will be my margins at the end? If it's cost me $100 to refurb it and I'm only going to make $90 on the sale, I'm losing money. So you have to be able to like help identify these, for clients. So we create full-time report of all the phones. We're trying to work in very, very good transparency, which is, as you guys know, probably that not every phone repair company is the same. So if we can create kind of a standardization and have a very transparency process into that repair flow that happens in Arbitrage, it creates value. So we're creating like our own certificate process where every phone that's processed, we then create a nice thing that shows every functional test that was there. We show the motherboard serial numbers, all this information, a nice Arbitrage branded PDF that they can use if they're listing it in, any marketplace, so say Amazon or eBay or something like that. They can ultimately take these and throw that in there to show all the tests when the product was sold. Yeah. So we have a breakdown of all the IMEIs in here. You go into an IMEI as an example. On the IMEI, you'll see any history was done. On this one, it doesn't have any fails. Let's see if anyone has a failure. This one has a failure. So we can track any of the failures that happen. That one actually was removed. So we can track failures as an example. And then when we get a failure, we can also see device history. We can print a label for shipping. We can see all the tests that happen here. This one failed on a touch test as an example. The battery's 89%. So in real time, our techs can go ahead and see where the issue is, and then they can further diagnose and do the repair if it's approved by them. So we're doing this for multiple locations. We have different locations that they'll walk you guys through and see where we're going. So when a phone goes to glass repair, we have to track it. We've created apps on tablets to help manage the actual workflow that happens for the technicians. But ultimately, this is really understanding the large data sets that we're getting that's going through, because every device that goes through, we read that device information. And then the more we can match that with the retail side that's happening in the markets, we can create really good predictive curves on depreciation values in the markets versus the expected sale price. And ultimately, we're now trying to take this information, process all this with very large AI models that then can help our buying. So when we're buying, if we can get it better, we know that auction price where we're making this predictable profits later, we can actually help out. So getting this whole entire information on the ecosystem, then feeding it to actual AI models that are specialized, we can actually train it into a way to help the actual purchasing side.
That's understood.
Thank you, Joey. Any questions?
No, perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate your thoughts. We're gonna give them a tour of the facilities right now.